guys, what's up? It's your girl Grace Torie, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today's episode is kind of an ongoing theme in my life as well as with this podcast, but I'm really excited to break it down and kind of talk about it a little bit more. Obviously, there's not like one sole thing that you're gonna do and all of a sudden you're gonna find yourself and you're gonna know who you are immediately. It's a process, but I have some tips as well as some like steps to kickstart this like path and kind of put you on the right path to find yourself. So I'm really excited to dive in and break down everything that I've kind of learned and what has helped me most. However, before we jump into that, of course, we have to do our life updates. So life updates today. I don't know, still cleaning. My brother is buying a car today, so we are, by the way, it probably sounds like my family buys a lot of cars. Josh is a car salesman, so that's why it's just coincidentally time for everyone to get new cars, so they're going to Josh. So I'll probably go with my mom and my brother because I never really see them since they live like an hour away. So I'm really excited to do that. What else? I don't know, do you guys ever struggle with just waking up and just feeling like today is just like not your day? Like, I don't know, I just woke up and it's like I don't really have any energy and I don't really want to do anything. But part of me is like really intuitive and I want to lean into it and I want to give myself the rest that I need. And yeah, the rest that I need. Wow, words are always hard. I feel like I say that every episode. But I also want to have like self-discipline and force myself to do things I don't want to do. So I'm kind of like trying to find the line in between. And so I've been trying to like take today easy, just hang out with the dogs. I'm sure you can kind of hear Evie in her collar as she walks up to me. I really just want to like find the line between resting and like taking the time you need, but also like having not Evie sighing in the background, sorry, my dogs are just like exhausted, they played all morning in the backyard, but also, you know, having the self-discipline to get things done, because I do struggle with like self-discipline and self-motivation since I am so stubborn and I want to do things when I want to do them. That was a loud car. Also, I've been like trying to focus on not being so like tense, because I feel like I can come off as feeling rushed or anxious or tense and it kind of translates to being disingenuous, and that's never really what I want to do. That's never my intention. I just like have a lot of anxiety and I find that I tend to like rush through everything to try and get it all done. So I'm trying to be really intentional about just like living in the moment and calm, chill. Everything's gonna work out. So hopefully that translates, because like I've always been genuine and I want to be genuine. I really do love you guys and I love this podcast so much, but I want you guys to be able to like tell when I'm talking to you. I don't want it to feel like I'm just not engaging or disengaged or whatever you want to call it. But I think that's pretty much it for life updates. Again, not much going on in my world. Oh wait, I do have some really exciting news. I can't tell you yet. I'm waiting on some final decisions, but whether it works out or not, I'll let you know. I just need to know like the final say first. But I'm really, really excited. I've been cooking up some things, doing some things. So hopefully it works out. But I think that's pretty much it. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the episode. The first thing that I recommend, well, before I jump into it, the first few things are kind of like in order, and then after that, it's things that you can do simultaneously. So I'll let you know when we switch to the simultaneous things, but first we're gonna do the things in order. So the first thing is to get back to the basics, is what I like to call it, and that's when I kind of strip everything that isn't like natural or like things that are a little bit more modern. So what I really mean by that is technology and things that are like that give you anxiety that aren't nature or like super basic, like your basic needs. So what I like to do is I don't get on my phone as much as possible. I have my ringer on so that if anyone calls me or needs to get a hold of me, they still can. However, I'm not on my phone. I only get on social media if I'm posting something or for work. And then I literally like just don't get on it. Oops. Speaking of my ringer being on, sorry, my ring camera just went off, so I'll actually turn off my ringer for this video. But yeah, your phone, technology in general, is so bad for you. I'm not gonna give you the spiel because you know, but it's been linked to, you know, anxiety, depression. It releases dopamine and then bad things happen. I don't know, I'm not like super scientific, but the dopamine and like the stress level side of things they talked about in What We Said's episode with the Symbiotica owner. So if you are interested and you want to dive into that more, go hop on over to the What We Said podcast, a little bit of free promo, and they talk about it in that episode. It's probably like 3 episodes back. But I'm sure you already know that, you know, too much of technology is a bad thing. You know, it's a good thing in moderation because it helps us connect with other people and just, you know, I don't need to tell you why technology is a great thing. We can all agree that it's great in small doses. So what I basically did is I limited my phone to any like busy work that I was doing. So if I was just scrolling on social media or playing a game on there or watching something like TikTok, I don't need to be doing that. So completely cut all that out. And then I also am trying to limit being on my laptop unless it's for something quick like work. I guess work isn't quick, but like say I'm editing some content for the Instagram, then I can use it for that, but I can't just be on it just like watching TV or scrolling around. And then I still am watching TV because it's something that like Josh and I do together, that brings us together, and I like to have it on in the background. But eventually I'm gonna try and not have it on at all unless Josh and I are watching a movie or something, because I find that it's just kind of distracting me from like myself, which is what I'm gonna get to in a minute. So basically limit technology as much as possible because it's basically just a form of escapism. So you're trying to use it to escape your reality, escape yourself, whatever you want to call it. That's just, you know, unnecessary. So as long as it's not being used for personal and you're using it for work, it's fine. But other than that, try and limit it as much as possible. What we're trying to do is find your own thoughts. So you don't really want to end up with groupthink or think that like a trend is a certain way, so you have to follow it. You're trying to find yourself. So you don't really want to be swayed too much by what people are saying on social media or what the current trends are, anything like that, because it's distracting you from what your own thoughts are and kind of manipulating them to be everybody else's thoughts. So if you still want to watch the news or things like that, like educational things, that's fine. But like I said, try to limit anything that's gonna just like be busy scrolling or affect your self-image or kind of make you not find your own thoughts and adopt other people's beliefs, basically. Next, you're gonna find your own version of grounding. So for me, I am an earth sign. If you don't believe in horoscopes, that's fine. If you don't believe in spirituality, totally fine. But for me, I do, and I'm an earth sign. So what I find very grounding is just going outside and sitting in nature. And, you know, grounding is really important because this is what you're gonna do when you want to scroll on your phone or when you typically I find that people like to use technology as a coping mechanism. So when things are not going their way or when you're anxious, you'll anxiously scroll on Instagram. Instead of doing that, you're gonna ground yourself. So if you're an earth sign like me, you typically like going outside barefoot and standing in the soil, touching a tree, being in nature in general, hanging out with your animals, very earthy things. However, I'm going to give you some examples if you are into horoscopes, and if you're not, give it a shot if you know what your sign is, and then tell me if it helps you, because people have said that it really does help them based on their sign. So if you are a water sign, that's showering, taking a bath, going outside in the rain, anything with water, drinking a glass of water. If you are a fire sign, it's sitting by the fireplace, it's lighting a candle and, you know, kind of focusing on it and drowning everything else out. It's very fire, earthy things, or not earthy, fire things. And then if you are an air sign, it's going for a drive with the windows down. It's finding a lookout point where you can just feel the wind in your hair. If it's a windy day, it's just going outside and feeling that. There's ways to interact with your element that are going to help ground you, that are really easy and simple to do in your home, that are gonna help you. So for me, I'm an earth sign, but I'm also a Scorpio dominant, which is a water sign. So I love taking showers at the end of the day. It really grounds me and helps me kind of come back to myself. In that same example, I also want to talk about energy takers versus energy givers, because this is key. You want to have more energy givers than takers in your day. So let me pull up some energy givers versus takers to kind of give you an example. Also, you can do your own research and see what you find to be an energy giver versus an energy taker. Again, this isn't really spiritual. This is just like quantum physics and knowing your energy. Knowing your energy and what you attract versus what you don't attract and how you can manipulate it is so beneficial. Again, on a scientific level, not even on a spiritual level. I'm not talking about religion. It's just scientific and it is key. I'm not even kidding. So some energy takers that we'll kind of address first is overthinking, screens and social media, chatter, dehydration, an inconsistent sleep pattern, possibly certain foods and alcohol, depending, people pleasing, words are hard, setting unrealistic goals, unclear and sloppy boundaries, negativity, and going without rest. So I'm sure that you have identified a few of those that you have seen in your own life. It's okay to have energy takers. Obviously, you're not going to be able to just completely get energy and fuel yourself, but it's good to have more givers than takers, or make sure that you're at least balancing out. So some givers that you should include in your daily life are a glass of water, sunlight, nourishing food, exercise, laughter, cuddles with a pet, self-care, meditation, visualization, reading, music, fresh air, friends and family, creativity, writing, journaling, setting intentions, and of course, sleep. So those are very important to think about and incorporate. They're little things that you probably knew, like drinking a glass of water and sitting in sunlight. Now my other dog is sighing. But these are all things that are very, very important. And if you don't have a balance of givers to takers, then you could be really hurting yourself. And I know you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with finding yourself? What you're trying to do is give yourself enough energy that you have kind of an excess amount so that you can think about yourself and things like that. Like right now you have so much on your plate that you're overwhelmed, and you're probably not gonna be able to find yourself if you're overwhelmed or stressed or things like that. So it all comes full circle, everything's connected. So next, what you're going to do, and this is really hard for some people, but sit in silence. So this can start as 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then work your way up to eventually an hour or all day just sitting in silence. What you're trying to do is you're building up the amount of time that you can handle sitting in silence, because when you are stimulated while you're listening to a podcast, have TV on in the background, you're on the phone, you're talking to people, you aren't in touch with yourself fully. You're kind of distracting yourself. So what you're trying to do is put yourself in a situation where you can kind of think things through and declutter your thoughts, because you have all these thoughts built up that you keep kind of escaping or distracting yourself and kind of putting them in your closet, and now you need to pull them all out, sort through them, get rid of the ones that no longer serve you, think through the ones that you need. And it's gonna be hard, and it's probably gonna be overwhelming if you're anxious. I know you have plenty of thoughts that you have and kind of need to push to the side, but what we're doing is decluttering so that you can find that inner voice in your head and your intuition, because your intuition is so important when you are finding yourself. Everyone has an intuition. It's like a muscle though, it can atrophy. So what you're trying to do is build your intuition back up, get rid of any of that energy that is just like negative, or any of those thoughts that are negative or overwhelming. You are just gonna kind of observe them and let them go. And sitting in silence is gonna be hard. It's gonna be scary because you're gonna have some intrusive thoughts if you are anxious, but you just need to work through them. That's why I said starting off with small amount of time and working your way up, because it can get really, really overwhelming and you definitely don't want to do too much at once. So what you're doing is just decluttering, allowing your mind some space, getting rid of those thoughts that no longer serve you. So you want to get to a point where you feel like you can breathe. And that's kind of what I talked about earlier, where I'm trying to like not feel like I'm rushing to the next thing and I can just breathe. So that's pretty much it when it comes to sitting in silence. And the last thing that you have to do in an order is find what makes you happy through your thoughts and intuition. So once you are comfortable with your sitting in silence and you kind of know what your intuition is, or that gut feeling, then you are just going to follow it. Follow your intuition and what it kind of is telling you to do, because those activities that you're leaning towards doing, or those thoughts of like new things that you want to try, those are probably what's going to make you happy and what you're going to find yourself in. So if there's a career or a job that you're reaching towards and you feel like it would be a good fit and your gut is telling you to go for it, that's your intuition probably telling you that you should try it out. If there's like a activity that you've always wanted to try, like crocheting or painting or track or things like that, and it just kind of crosses your mind like, hey, I want to go for a run, then follow that and see where it takes you. So those are the 4 things that are in order. Next, we're going to talk about 6 things that you should be doing simultaneously while you're doing this, and it's going to make your process easier and kind of take off some of the pressure, help you with that anxiety, while also helping you improve yourself. So this is really important. It's probably going to sound really cliche, but make sure you're nourishing yourself properly, not popularly, properly, because your gut is actually directly linked to your brain, and a lot of the anxiety and things that are kind of cluttering your mind and keeping you from finding yourself could actually be caused by not eating correctly. So if you are eating correctly and nourishing your body and giving your gut what it needs, you're gonna have a clearer mind and you're gonna be less anxious, typically less depressed. But of course, I'm not a doctor, so definitely take that with a grain of salt and make sure that you're nourishing yourself properly. It's never gonna be a bad thing to eat healthy, but don't consider it a cure-all. If you need some extra help, of course, we all do sometimes. So definitely make sure that you're eating a balanced diet. I like to intuitively eat, so I eat when I'm hungry, but I also kind of can tell like, oh, I'm running low on protein, or I need more of this. And it's not like down to the point that it's like, man, I need calcium right now, but I can tell when I need iron or when I need protein. And you know, when I'm feeling depleted of something, I tend to like crave something, and then I actually need the nutrients in it. But that's come through a long process of knowing my body and nutrients and knowing my intuition, so it doesn't happen overnight. So I'm not recommending a certain diet over another, but I am going to tell you that healthy eating and nutrients that are, you know, good for your body are also going to be good for you mentally and going to help you with this process and help you to think more clearly, be less sluggish, have more energy, things like that. Number 6 is to find gratitude in every moment. When you reframe your mind through a grateful and positive attitude, you completely change your life. It is a game changer. If you are looking through all of this through a negative lens, you are just not gonna get very far, because negative attracts negative. You're just gonna be digging your hole deeper. You need to look at this through a new frame of mind. And I know it's hard to just go from a negative to a positive mindset if that's how you've thought for so long, and just working on that mental diet can be really difficult. So what I do is I start by being grateful in every moment. So I look around and I say, man, I love this house. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for my pets. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for my health. And A good way to do this to start out is to just wake up every morning and write a list of 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. Or if you want to just say it to yourself throughout the day, I do that as well. You can set an alarm on your phone to go off every couple of hours to remind you to be grateful. But what you're doing is just training yourself. Oh, my dog just fell off the bed. That was kind of funny. But what you're doing is just training yourself to look at everything through a gratitude lens, through an abundance mindset of, man, I have all of these things and I'm so grateful for them. And it doesn't only teach you to be grateful, but it teaches you to be positive. It falls into the law of attraction, so you're going to attract more positive things. It's just a really great attitude and practice to have. And it's going to help you find yourself, because any positivity is just going to help you look at life through a new lens, and I cannot recommend that more. So number 7 is remove that negative self-talk. Not only are you going to try and remove all negativity from your thoughts, of course you're still going to have negative thoughts, but we're going to try to remove as many as possible. But you also really want to focus on removing any negative self-talk. So what this means is anything from limiting to beliefs to just straight up bullying yourself. A limited belief would be saying, man, I don't think I'll ever be able to be CEO of a company. Just an example. To a straight up bullying where you say, man, I wish I was as pretty as so-and-so. Gosh, I'm just so ugly. Anything like that, you don't want to say that. I feel like that's obvious, but there's also the more subtle ones, like saying, man, I'll never be able to do this, or I'm never going to be at a place like this. Those moments are a little bit more subtle, and you almost don't realize that you have negative self-talk because it's so smooth and it just creeps in. But you want to do as much as you can to remove that, because it's just not going to help you. You're not going to be able to find yourself if you're constantly putting yourself down. You want to be able to believe that you are capable of doing anything you set your mind to, because you don't know what you're going to find. You could find that you are really great at something that you never believed you could do. So making sure that you have a positive mindset, you're coming into it with a really strong mental diet where you believe that you are capable of anything. You could fly to the moon if you wanted to. That is the mindset you need to have. So number 8 is get active. And kind of going off of this, I heard this advice the other day, and it's kind of been game changing, honestly. So someone was talking about people who struggle with like sleeping at night. So I have ADHD as well as anxiety, which is a great combination, just keeps me up all night long. So I really have been working on kind of trying to find different ways to make myself fall asleep quicker and not having to lay there for as long, because Josh just like falls over at the end of the day and he's like good, and I never understood it. I was like, who is this man? How does he do that? I don't know. But what this guy said, I can't remember where it's from, but he said, make sure that you're wearing out your mind and your body. So I definitely wear my mind out every day, and I think that's why that I'm so tired. I don't have enough energy givers in my life, and I'm just constantly pulling out my energy mentally. However, I do not work out my body enough throughout the day, and then my body just doesn't want to go to sleep. So I have been making an effort to be more active throughout the day, and let me tell you, it is a game changer. If you struggle with sleep, like on a serious note, if you struggle with sleep, give this a try. Make sure that your mind, body, and I mean your soul is like being fulfilled every day. Like hopefully what you do is fulfilling in some way, but your mind and body are being exercised fully, and you want to be exhausted mentally and physically at the end of every day so that you can wake up recharged at the beginning of the next day. You don't want to have like leftover energy or anything. Yeah, so making sure that you're being active not only releases good endorphins and serotonin and all that good stuff so that you are more positive, but it also is helping you sleep at night. It's giving you a healthier mindset. It's kind of letting you put your frustration somewhere, since you're not going to be on your phone and you're not going to be using technology. Obviously, if you like work out better when you listen to music, that's fine. Doing something where you're taking up your time, you're doing something good for your body, you are exercising, you're wearing yourself out, it's gonna help you because you're gonna have a more positive mindset at the end of the day. And this is, I promise you, all these things are like super cliche, but they are gonna help you find yourself at the end of the day. It sounds crazy, but I've been there and I've done all this and I looked at myself through a whole new lens and I'm still finding myself, but this is just like so helpful in that process. So I definitely am obviously gonna tell you guys what to do, and don't question it, just do it and then report back to me, and I promise you the results will be positive. So the next thing, number 9, is self-care, but it's catered to your interests. So say you hate baths, you're not gonna go take a bubble bath, but it's the trend right now. Everyone's taking a bubble bath and reading. If it doesn't give you energy, doesn't make you happy, you have no interest in it, don't just do it because it's a trend. I've fallen into that before where I've been like, man, this face mask is like popping, everyone's doing it, and then I put it on and it made my face break out, or I hated it, or you know, I didn't want to do it, or like people will like have certain brushes that they use and I hate it. Why would I use that? You know, we all have specific interests and you're gonna find your interest pretty quickly. If you love bath bombs, do a bath bomb. If you like showers, do a shower. If painting your nails is the perfect self-care night for you, do it. I personally hate painting my nails. Could not be me, but I love getting my nails done. It is self-care for me. I love when people like to get my cuticles and kind of pamper me. I thoroughly enjoy it. So what I am telling you is do whatever makes you happy in terms of self-care. Don't listen to anybody else. So, you know, make sure that you are doing what makes you happy and what interests you, and not just what the fads are, what the trends are, because you want to have like a relaxing night that makes you happy. You don't want any anxiety. If there's like a certain self-care thing that gives you a ton of anxiety, don't do it, because you're just trying to relax, calm yourself down, have like a night routine. And you know, when you're taking care of your body, it helps everything else. It helps you mentally, it helps your soul. Everything's connected. Your mind, body, and soul are all connected. So if you're feeding one, you're helping another. Lastly, you are going to remove toxicity or negativity from your life. So I know what that sounds like. I know you're probably like rolling your eyes like, Grace, I can't just cut out every single negative thing in my life. And I know you can't. But there's definitely places where you can improve. So basically what I'm saying is, if it makes you feel bad, it's bad. If it makes you feel good, it's good. It's that simple. Start removing everything that makes you feel bad. And I know, like for me, fast food makes me feel bad. So I'm gonna remove that from my life as much as possible. Sometimes I'm still gonna be running behind and I'm gonna need to grab food on the go and I'm gonna just have to suck it up. But it doesn't need to be a daily thing or even a weekly thing. So I'm not just gonna talk about food. Obviously, if there's people in your life that make you feel bad and you're comfortable just cutting them off, if they're super toxic, cut them off, please. Please cut them off. But if you feel comfortable just cutting them off, cut them off. However, I'm not telling you that you have to go and remove every single person in your life that is a pessimist or is a little bit more negative. What you can do instead, if you don't feel comfortable just being like sayonara, bye, or like they're your family and they mean something to you and you can't just cut them off, there's other things that you can do to remove the negativity and keep the person. So the first thing that you can do is lead the conversation. So what you're gonna do both times in any situation is you're taking the lead and you're kind of showing that you no longer want to be a pessimist or be negative, and they're either gonna have to change or they're gonna kind of unfortunately slowly fade away because they want to remain negative and you're not giving them that response. So there's two ways that you can do this, like I mentioned. The first is you're gonna redirect the conversation. So you're gonna say, let's talk about something else. Or, you know, hey, how was school the other day? Like, or, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but did you see that this is going on? How, you know, are you excited for that? Kind of redirect the conversation to have a more positive tone. And if it's gossiping, you can always say, hey, I'm not interested in that. Do not gossip. That is the most negative thing you could do. It doesn't help anybody. It's a waste of time. Removing as much gossip out of your life as you can is so beneficial. Obviously, there's still gonna be gossip. You're still gonna slip up sometimes. I know we all love the tea, but if you're sitting there talking about how much you don't like someone, it's not a vibe. You don't want to do that. So just remove that as much as possible. You shouldn't be spending your time bringing other people down, even if, regardless of if they're there or not. So the second thing you're going to do is you're going to compliment them. So someone can be talking really negatively, and you could just look at them and say, hey, sorry to interrupt, but your makeup looks really pretty today. Or, hey, sorry to interrupt, but I love your outfit today. And hopefully that not only makes their day, but it redirects the conversation, gives you something else to talk about. And you know, positive attracts positive. It can literally make their day. Maybe it'll inspire them to be more positive as well. You never know. And being the lead, leading by example, taking the lead in the conversation is just going to help and, you know, hopefully remove some of that negativity, that toxicity, so that you have as much of a positive and stress-free life as possible, so that you can focus on yourself. So those are all the tips I have. I know some of them seem like kind of random and indirect, but like I mentioned, try them out. Don't knock them till you try them, and see if it makes a difference, helps you focus on you. I hope that you found this video helpful in some way. Even if you don't try all the tips, let me know if you try any of them. On my Instagram or TikTok, go ahead and comment. I love you guys so much. If you don't mind rating or reviewing, it really helps out my podcast more than you know. Also, if you want to follow and subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to me. I would love for you to join my community of That Girls. We are all working to become our own version of that girl, whatever that means to us. So if you want to join a community of girlies that are working hard, non-judgmental, and trying to just get more out of life than the average person, then go ahead and join us. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. All of my links will be down below, all of the podcast links and my personal links. If you're watching this on the day it comes out, I hope you had a great Wednesday. I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you're watching this in general, I hope you have a great day or night today, and I will see you in my next episode. Bye guys.
You was the first